Welcome to our Unveiled Faces. I am creator and host Rosie Leonore, and I'm here to help you find strength and inspiration in your daily spiritual restoration journey with God. I pray that this episode will encourage your faith. Enjoy. Welcome back. Today I am on my fourth day here in the beautiful island of Puerto Rico, and this is just been an amazing trip, and I want to just take a few minutes to share a little bit about what I've been learning from my continued reading in the book by Guy Hammond, Tempt Away: How to Defeat Temptation in Under 60 Seconds and How to Recover Quickly When You Don't. So I've already spoken in 2 different episodes about 2 other concepts I've been learning about. And today, I've been reading, so there's actually a little bit more than I want to share already. But today was really impactful because, and he's already telling us, in 60 seconds or less, he's already explaining the steps. But here, there's a story he tells about Abraham and Lot and a disagreement they had, and basically, this is based on Genesis 13:8 to 13. Genesis 13:8 to 13, and they had this disagreement. They couldn't get it resolved. Abraham didn't want any discord or dissent or division, so he said, "Look, let's just settle. Let's just choose, where we want to live. I don't want us to fight. We're family." And I think that was pretty cool. I think he's just, trying to be a peacemaker. But Lot, he was like, all right, fine, I'll choose this place, And the place that he chose ended up like in the years to come, there's a disaster that happened. And there's a chain of events that happen here. And so, a chain of events that happens that ends up leading to Lot being in a terrible, terrible, life-threatening situation. So I'm going to read to you the story, which you may or may not be familiar with. So I'll read it to you, and then I'll make the points about the chain of events. It says, "So Abraham said to Lot, 'Let's not have any quarreling between me and you, between your herders and mine, for we are close relatives. Is not the whole land before you? Let's part company. If you go to the left, I'll go to the right. If you go to the right, I'll go to the left.' Lot looked around and saw that the whole plain of the Jordan towards Zoar was well watered, like the garden of the Lord." Looked beautiful, right? "And like the land of Egypt." This was before the Lord destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah. So Lot chose for himself the whole plain of the Jordan and set out towards the east. The 2 men parted company. Abram lived in the land of Canaan, while Lot lived among the cities of the plain and pitched his tents near Sodom. Now the people of Sodom were wicked and were sinning greatly against the Lord. That's from Genesis 13:8 to 13. And then down the road in Genesis 14, it says, "Then the king of Sodom, the king of Gomorrah, the king of Admah, the king of Zeboim, and the king of Bela," that is Zoar, "marched out and drew up their battles in the valley of Siddim against Chedorlaomer, king of Elam, Tidal, king of Goim, Amraphel, king of Shinar, Arioch, king of Elasar, 4 kings against 5. The 4 kings seized all the goods of Sodom and Gomorrah and all their food, and then they went away. They also carried off Abram's nephew Lot and his possessions, since he was living in Sodom." How did he end up in Sodom? First, he went and pitched his tent near Sodom, and then somehow he ended up in Sodom. It's like, you're going to see this chain of events happening, and think about it when you are tempted and how the chain of events starts and continues. So Hammond here continues, and he just kind of points out the chain links. Chain link number 1, and this, pay attention please, because this is going to be so important for you when you are about to fall into temptation. Notice the links that happens and where you can actually stop, because there's different moments that you can actually stop, and even almost at the end you can still repent and turn back. So chain link number one, they had a quarrel and they got separated. What if they came up with an agreement? What if they resolved it? That would have, they would have had no hard feelings. They would have reconciled. That would have just ended, and that's it, right? They would have shared a land, lived in the same place, no problem. Chain link number two, Lot looked around and saw, all that glitters is not gold. I'm going to repeat that. All that glitters is not gold. He saw a land and it was beautiful and it was rich with water and beautiful plains and just like perfect for planting. I mean, whatever it was, like he was like, this is where I'm going to go. This is where I'm going to go. This is going to be my land. He was looking at the greener pastures. Greener pastures. I want to point out something he says here. He says, Satan masquerades as an angel of light. That's from 2 Corinthians 11:14. We have to be very careful when we look at the things that glitter. I'm not saying that all things that glitter are not necessarily gold. Some of them are like, yeah, that's awesome. They're good. But be careful that not all things are, because Satan loves to masquerade as an angel of light. Keep that in mind. We look at chain link number 3, and it says, Lot set out towards Sodom. He set out. So then he set out towards a trajectory in his life. Think about what trajectory you have set out, or maybe at this moment are about to set out. Think about that. Lot was not dumb. He was smart. It's not like he didn't know that there was, that Sodom, what Sodom was all about. And so he made that choice to, gear the trajectory of his life towards that direction. And then chain link number 4, Lot pitched his tents near Sodom. So it wasn't enough for him to, he could have maybe pitched his tent far from Sodom. He could have done that, but he decided to pitch his tent near Sodom. So now he's actually, and then in chain link number 5, he ends up being in Sodom, which is what I said earlier. I said, how did he get there? So somehow in the middle of all, he just decided to move into Sodom. Okay. How did that all happen? You can see, right? The progression. This is the progression of sin. This is what happens when we don't stop temptation on its track from the beginning. So the slow progression led to the crash in his life. And these can be our steps to destruction as well. Let me tell you something. When we separate from fellowship, if you are a church member, you are a Christian, okay, you should be in a church fellowship, number one. If you're not, you should get one. Get one that will support you and will help you be a strong disciple. But if you are already, sometimes fights, disagreements, sometimes even just like what happened with me before I left God and then was eventually restored. I didn't have any disagreements, but I isolated myself. So I disconnected. Sometimes we can allow those things, the disconnection or the hard feelings, come between us and other Christians, or between us and our spouses, or us and friends, close relatives, or us and God, worst of all. So we see something sinful, we see a thing we want, we believe it, we believe that it's going to make us happy and it's going to make us fulfilled, and we focus on it. We fantasize about it, right? All that glitters is gold. We fantasize about it. It's not gold actually, but we think it's gold. We set out towards it, we pitch our tent near it, and we live in it, and we finally are taken captive by it. And then he gives another example of David when he sinned with Bathsheba. His chain links of events were also 5 chain links of events, and you can read that story in 2 Samuel 11:1-5 and 2 Samuel 1:14-17. I want to challenge you to notice the chain of events. I want to challenge you to do that, kind of like a little assignment for you, okay? Because I think it's important when you hear these videos or see or learn from a book or read a lesson to really either write down, underline, or reflect on the things that, you learn. So I want to challenge you to please take a look at your life right now. Take a look at perhaps if there is something that is causing a chain link of events into you giving into the temptations that will eventually separate you from God. Be cautious. This is always caution this because it happened to me, and this is why I started this podcast and channel. If you're watching on YouTube, I do both podcasts and YouTube channels. And post on my YouTube channel. And so, whichever way you're listening to me, I beg you. If you are a disciple of Jesus, a Christian woman or man, I pray that you will take a look at those chain link of events and watch for them. Watch very carefully. Thank you so much again for watching and for listening. If you're listening into my podcast, I hope that this particular episode is helping you think through and helping encourage you to take those positive steps towards, or if you are not in that place right now, that if you do get there one day, which we all do, we all have these temptations, that you think about this. And that I hope that this encourages your faith, and I hope that these episodes will continue to encourage your walk with God. Thank you once again for watching, and if you like this video, please make sure you press that like button right below and subscribe to my channel. Until next time.